Hey, well, good morning and welcome to Sunday. My name is Tim. I'm the campus pastor. Hey, we are so excited that you're with us today. Hey, if you're a first-time guest, you are an honored guest with us. And we have a free gift for you. So at the end of service, on our welcome table outside, just walk over and say, hey, I'm a first-time guest. We have a free t-shirt for you. So in your seat is what we call a connection card. So if you would, sometimes when the service is over, just fill out as much information as you feel comfortable with. Even if you're a partner with us, returning guest, you consider Summit your church, just sign your name. Just let us know that you're here. And everyone should have an index card in their seat. And if you don't, toward the end, we'll get you one. And that will be important toward the end of the service. So make sure if you don't have one, I'll just raise your hand and we'll make sure we give one to you. I'm just going for our worship team. If you're up there, blessing your house. So we're in this series called Replenish. And this series has been all about making sure that we take care of our soul. Because it's easy to get caught up in the routines of life, into day-to-day, and neglect the most important part of who we are. The invisible, the eternal part of us, our soul. So in week 1, we just asked the question, how is your soul? And then in week 2, we said, how can we slow down, unplug, to put ourselves in a position to be able to connect with God? And then in week 3, we talked about how do we go to Jesus in those moments where we just blow it? And then last week, we talked about every single one of us had baggage, and how we can just lay our baggage down so that Jesus can work on the deep parts of our heart. Now, I think it would be fair to say that everyone here has either stubbed a toe, bit your tongue, hit your funny bone, or cracked a shin. Everybody with me? All right, what they have in common, it hurts. It also can kind of represent what life is. Each one causes pain. They can come unexpected. They leave us bruised. They leave us bloody. See, and after something like it happens, we become more aware of things. We have our guard up. Everyone here, you have a path mapped out in your mind to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night or the kitchen. Kind of return like SEAL Team 6. We need night vision goggles, we got it in our mind. See, it's been my experience that most Christians don't have the framework to handle suffering. See, if you're not careful, you can make following Jesus like hold on to a winning lottery ticket. That we have no more worries in life. That life is all about unicorns, it's all about rainbows. But the problem with that is reality. And I love the Bible because the Bible is raw. The Bible is real and honest about life. That life is hard. And there's moments where we want to have pain and we want to face suffering. See, when sin entered the world in Genesis 3, it not only fractured the relationship that God had with Adam and Eve, it fractured how the whole universe works. See, a lot of people walk away from God when something happens because you have been taught that if I do the right things, that if I read my Bible every day, if I go to church every Sunday, and if I pray, then God is happy with me and nothing bad's going to happen to me. And then when it does, we want to know why. We want to know why God let this happen. Why are we facing this? See, that I need an explanation, I need an apology because I was good. See, the problem with that mindset is God has never told us that's how life is in Scripture. See, we live in a Genesis 3 broken world. Think about this. Adam and Eve have 2 sons, Cain and Abel. In Genesis 4, Cain kills Abel. That's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to love your brother, not kill him. The first brothers on the planet kind of set a tone for what the rest of the world's going to be like. See, there's going to come a time where there's going to be no pain, no heartache, no suffering, but that's not until the new heavens and new earth when Jesus returns. See, we can still experience God's blessings on earth, but there's brokenness in the blessings. See, Jesus tells us in John 16:33. I have that one. This is not my first time here. I'm not the next pastor. See, this happens quite a bit. Let's go ahead and address this. I would like to be able to pin this on somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, so-and-so sets the slides up. They say everything appropriate in there. This is the program you use. Then I can say, I can call them out by name. All right, take the heat off myself. But the problem is, it's on me. And my daughter's the one that works the program center. I would love to throw her under the bus. But I can't. All right, it's all me. All right, we'll do better. I promise. All right. So in John 16:33, Jesus says, "Listen. All right, in the world you're gonna have trouble. All right, you're going to face pain, you're going to face suffering. See, but in me you can find peace. See, what he doesn't say is, all right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove you from the situation. All right, I'm going to take you out of that circumstance. No, he doesn't say that. He says, listen, you're going to face it. But you actually can find peace inside the suffering. And then again in Matthew 7, Jesus wraps up the longest sermon that we have in Jesus, the Sermon on the Mount. And he wraps up this sermon with a parable. He talks about two builders. He says, all right, if you take what I say, it's kind of like a builder who builds on a rock. So that way, when the rains come and floods come and winds come, it stands. And if you don't listen to what I say, you don't put this into your life, it's like building the same house on the sand. And when the rains come and the floods come and the winds come, then it's going to fall. The storm hit both houses. So what Jesus is saying, listen, the storm is coming for all of us. But what Jesus has promised is that he will be with us in the middle of the storm. So if you think about the New Testament, like suffering is this constant theme throughout the entire New Testament, especially in the writings of Paul. Paul is always telling us, right, be ready to suffer. You're going to suffer. You're going to face pain. You're going to have hardships in life. Don't be shocked. Don't be caught off guard when this happens. So you're going to face these things. But here's the thing. God can be with you in the middle of the pain. Here's the thing about pain. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your gender is, what your socioeconomic background is. Pain comes for everyone. But sometimes pain comes from our own decisions and the consequences that follow that. But pain also can come from decisions and actions of others. We can have physical pain. We can have emotional pain. We can have grief by loss. We can have the pain of our dreams and our goals not played out how we thought life would be. See, pain is real. And what we do in those moments when we face pain and suffering can either replenish your soul or it can dry up and be empty. I want us to look at one of the darkest moments in the life of Jesus. Luke 22. So if you got your Bibles open up, turn in your own device to Luke 22. We'll look at verses 39 through 46. I hope these verses are on the board. I can't make no promises right now, all right? We're going to set the tone. But if not, I'm going to read it. Luke 22. And he came out and went, this is Jesus, as was his custom, to the Mount of Olives. And the disciples followed him. And when he came to the place, he said to them, pray that you may not enter into temptation. And he withdrew from them about a stone's throw and knelt down and prayed, saying, Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. And there appeared to him an angel from heaven, strengthening him. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly. And his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down to the ground. And when he rose for prayer, he came to the disciples and found them sleeping for sorrow. And he said to them, why are you sleeping? Rise and pray that you may not enter into temptation. I want us to pray because I think what we're talking about is one of the most important topics that you can is following Jesus. Because pain is real. Everyone faces it. All right, so I want to pray. I want you to pray. All right, you know what area of your life you need God to step into. All right, so I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to pray for you. And that God would meet you in that place where you need him to. So if you're facing something, I want you to ask God, this is where I need you to meet me at. All right, so let's pray. Jesus, I thank you. I thank you for your word. And I thank you that you want to meet us exactly where we are. So God, I ask this time that we have together that our minds will be clear, our hearts will be clear from distraction and just business and life. We can just have this moment in time together. Father, that you'll speak to us in a clear way. God, we want to encounter with you because we know an encounter with you that we will never be the same. That's what we want. We want transformation. We ask this in your name. And everybody say it. Amen. Amen. I want us to look at those three things that Jesus does in the garden that will help us when we face pain and suffering. So the main idea, the thing I want you to get when you walk out here today is this. If you don't get anything else, I want you to get this sentence. I can meet God in the middle of my pain. That is the big idea that I want you to get today. And the first thing that we can do based on what we just read here in the garden is, number one is this, go to God. See, when we face painful situations and we face suffering, we have two choices. We can suppress it and numb it, or we can go to God with it. And this is something that Jesus done. Jesus went to the Father here. It's something he did throughout his life. That Jesus made it a practice to go to God. So we need to build rhythms in our life. That we need to build a rhythm of prayer in our life and meditation in our life and go to church. See, the reason is that if your relationship with Jesus is Sunday only, or you look at Jesus as something you'll get around to when you feel like it, or if Jesus is just your get out of hell free card. See, the moments that you face pain, the moments that you face opposition, you don't have the foundation to endure suffering. And usually what happens in those moments is that we turn inward, we usually go away from God. We'll isolate from everybody else. We'll suppress it and numb it. And that can lead you down a road that you might not be able to come back from. So what do you do? What do you do when you face suffering? Do you become isolated? Do you become guarded? And do you say, listen, I'm not going to let anyone close to me again. I'm not going to take a chance on getting hurt again. That you become hardened? See, that's a very lonely and dangerous life to live. Or do you become bitter and do you blame God? Or do you walk away from it altogether until God kind of pays his dues and then you may come back to it? Or we can spiritualize something so much that we don't have to deal with it. And we can put this really thin coat of religion over it. The problem with doing it and not dealing or addressing the issue is all of a sudden it can come back up real quick in different ways. You either become self-righteous, or all of a sudden you've got this theology and you'll spiritualize things and you'll give really, really bad advice under the banner of church. And you'll say things that absolutely does not match up with what Scripture says. See, Jesus shows us, listen, when you face suffering, you face hard times, you go to God. So when we say go to God, that just simply means that we face it, that we feel our pain. So there's two parallel accounts of Jesus in the garden. One's in Matthew 26 and one's in Mark 14. And in the garden, Jesus goes to the Father on 3 different times saying, God, if you can take this from me, do it. See, because of the relationship he had with God the Father, he's able to go to him in the worst of circumstances. This really shows the humanity of Jesus. He goes to God on 3 different times. He said, Father, listen, if there's another way, if there's another way that the sins can be paid for, if there's another way that I have to endure the cross, if there's another way this can happen, just do it. Just do it, God. I'm begging you. If there's something else that can take place, let that happen. But then he turns right around and says, but if it's your will, not mine. And verse 43 is crazy. Jesus in such agony and such turmoil on the cross is ahead of him that an angel actually comes down to strengthen him. That's mind-blowing. That Jesus is in such distress in his soul, and he tells other accounts that he feels like his soul is so heavy that he wants to die. That Jesus knows in a few hours he's going to be nailed to the cross. He's going to take the sin and shame of humanity upon himself, and he is in agony. And that angel has to come down and help him. It goes against our instincts all the time when something bad happens to us that we run to God. And normally we get bitter. We ask God why. We run from him. The only way we're going to find hope in those situations when we face pain and suffering is running to him. Because when you walk away from him, you have nothing. When you walk away from God in those moments of pain, those moments of suffering, you walk away from him, what you're left with is you and the pain. You can't run from it because it's still there. And here's what's even worse, it follows you. This is one of those things that is much easier for me to get up here and tell you to do than actually do. I mean, it really is. I mean, this is one of those things that's really easy to say it, but it's completely different to actually try to implement this in your life. But if you face it and you deal with it, it gives God the opportunity to meet you in the middle of it. And the second thing that we can take away from what Jesus did is listen. See, what we really believe about God in the moments of pain, in the moments of suffering, they come out. So when we talk about the Garden of Gethsemane, it means a place for pressing. They would take olives, they would put them on this rock slab and just squeeze them, they would press the oil out of them. See, pain and suffering squeezes what is in you out. You know your pain talks to you? Pain speaks. But we don't want to hear it. And a lot of the times, what that pain would tell you is what you don't believe about God. It'll bring up your insecurities. It'll bring up your fears. It'll bring up your doubts. That when you're in the middle of the pit, and you have those doubts, where's God coming from now? I don't see any way out of this. Or you have the fear that you'll never get out of it. God, a fear of abandonment. Where are you in this? See, this is going to lead us back to going to God with it. Because you need to tell him where you're at and how you feel. See, God wants transformation for you at the soul level. He wants the soul level so that you're equipped to handle life on life's terms. God's goal in your life is not to make you that you were bad and you may told a little lie here and there, especially if your husband or your wife asks if they look fat. All right, everybody knows you got to lie. You never tell the truth in those situations. But that's not God's goal for you. He doesn't want to tell you that you were kind of bad, and you cussed a little, and you may drink some beer. It's not that. What he wants to do, he wants to transform you at the soul level so that you actually can deal with life. That you're equipped to face pain, that you're equipped to face suffering, that you just got to code over with this thing called religion. You're not prepared when suffering comes. In 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 1 through 10, Paul says, I must go on boasting, though there is nothing to be gained by it. I will go on to visions and revelations of the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up in the third heaven. Whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. And I know that this man was caught up into paradise, whether in the body or out of the body. I do not know. God knows. And he heard things that cannot be told, which man may not utter. On behalf of this man, I will boast, but on my own behalf, I will not boast except of my weaknesses. Though if I should wish to boast, I would not be a fool. For I will be speaking the truth, but I refrain from it, so that no one may think more of me than he sees in me or hears from me. So to keep me from becoming conceited because of surpassing greatness of revelations, a thorn was given me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to harass me, to keep me from becoming conceited. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon you. For the sake of Christ, then I am content with weakness, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For I am weak and I am strong. God shows Paul ahead, and it is spectacular. It is so great that he can't even speak, or he don't have the words to talk about it. So to keep Paul being humble, not to be arrogant, God gives him this thorn in the flesh. Now, scholars will debate on what it is, but no one knows for sure. But Paul asked God on 3 different times to take it from him. And then verse 9 he says, my grace is sufficient for you. Now, Paul had done some very impressive things for the kingdom of God. This one guy was giving him trouble in the book of Acts, and Paul said, hey, you're going to be blind, and he was blind. Paul's his handkerchief would heal people. He would cast out demons. He brought a person back from the dead. Paul was so renowned that even in the spiritual world, in Acts 19, these guys find a demon-possessed man. The demon said, listen, Jesus, I know who he is, and I've heard of Paul. So if you would think that if anybody should get a pass and have nothing bad happen to him, it's got to be Paul. Look what all he's done. No one suffered like Paul did. No one. Paul was in prison, Paul was beaten, Paul was stoned. And Christian history tells us that Paul was actually beheaded for following Jesus. See, the truth is when you face suffering, you face opposition, you face pain, it allows God to work on the deepest parts of your soul. And it's only in pain, it's only through suffering that your relationship with God can grow closer and you can be more confident in who he is. And that only comes through suffering and through pain. See, God never promises to take us out of it. What he actually promises is that he will walk with us through it. That's a much better deal. That the God in you is saying, listen, I know what you're going through. Let me walk in there with you. This brings us to our third one. Let go and let God. This is the goal of facing suffering. It's to let go so God can step in and help. See, Jesus asked us, listen, if there's any other way this can happen, I don't have to go and do it. But if not, it is your will, God, it's not mine. It only comes with facing pain and suffering. And allow Him to speak to you and going to God with it, being open where you are. See, the only way you can have God step into the pain, into your suffering, is if you let go of it. And that's simply saying, listen, here it is. I don't understand what's going on. I can't see where you're good here. I don't know why this is happening to me, but I'm going to trust you. I want to lay it down at your feet and invite God to meet you in the middle of it. So you can trust Jesus with your pain. You can trust Jesus with your suffering. Hebrews 2, 16 through 18. For surely it is not angels that help us, that He helps, but He helps the offspring of Abraham. Therefore He had to be made like His brothers in every respect, so that He might become a merciful and faithful high priest in the service of God, to make propitiation for the sins of the people. For because He Himself has suffered and tempted, He is able to help those who are being tempted. Jesus knows pain. Jesus knows suffering. Jesus knows the human experience. And what He shows is the more pain that you face, the more suffering that you face, the faster and quicker that you go to God with it. See, there's no experience that you're going to face in this life that Jesus didn't have. Jesus has been betrayed. He's been despised and hated. He's been gossiped and lied to. See, Jesus knew it everything, so that you wouldn't have to do it alone. And you also have the church family to be able to go through life with you. I want to keep beating this drum. See, we need each other. The Christian life is not meant to be lived alone. It's not. What if the greatest pain in your life could be the greatest source of hope and inspiration for someone else? See, in the kingdom of God, nothing is wasted. Suffering is not wasted. Pain is not wasted. It can be used to help someone along the way. That's why we're in different seasons of life. So if you're in a good place and things are going well for you, praise God for that. And ask God what you can do to help someone else. So we hold each other up. We encourage, we pray, and we encourage people not to give up because Jesus didn't give up on us when He had every reason to. No one likes to talk about pain and suffering. We just don't, but we have to. Because it's real. See, the Christian faith is for real life. And Jesus wants to meet you in the middle of it. What the greatest work that God wants to do in your life is actually in you. Because the truth is, if your soul's not well, you're not. Because everything's going to flow from it. You have an index card out. And if you don't, will you raise your hand up and let's get one in your hand or card. I want you to answer this question. I want you to write it down on this card. What part of your life do you need God to meet you in? I don't want you to put your name on it. Sometimes actually writing it down allows you to face it because it's in print. And it may be the first step to deal with what you got going on in your life. But I invite you to write that on that card. And toward the end of the service here, we're going to put those in the basket. And don't sign it. I'm going to pray with those on the Monday. That's what the church does. All of us are hurt. All of us are broken. We serve the one that puts us together. So I want you to take the time on that card. What part of your life do you need God to meet? step in. Let it go. Let God. Would you make this prayer? So where are you at this morning? What area in your life do you need God to step into and meet you? And that's inviting you to go to Him now with that. And it may be the first step. God is dealing with the working at the deep parts of your soul. Or if you have things in your life that are jamming you up, if you have sin in your life that is blocking you from the relationship that God wants to have with you, if you have the opportunity to confess, repent, and walk out with truth. Jesus paid for on the cross. When we understand the gospel, those moments that we're far from Him, that we blow it, we run to Him, not from Him. But maybe what you realize for the first time, where you need God to meet you, is to meet you right now in your sin. You have the opportunity to be in the relationship with Jesus Christ. Following Jesus is not about keeping the rules, not about regulations. It is about having a relationship with the Savior who loved you at your worst and went to the cross for you. So that you would have to walk this life alone. You have the church around you, the fuel letters, man. We would love to come up beside you, love you, encourage you if you let us. So I'm about to say this prayer. This is not magic words. But it may have verbalized what's going on in your heart. That's for you to simply say, Jesus, forgive me of my sins, save me. It's that simple as that. Did you just say that prayer? See, on the count of 3, no one's looking. If you said the prayer, I ask you to raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Say me too. Everyone let me do this. On your connection card, on the back of it, if you made a decision to follow Jesus, there's a box to check there. Would you do that? Let's make it out.